We sometimes get the question, how do you roll your R's? If you're studying Indonesian, it's one of the things that people feel often that they need to improve. If you're having trouble rolling your R at the, or voicing your R's at the end of a sentence, it can make you feel a little bit self-conscious when you speak Indonesian. But it's not that hard to do, and you just have to change the way you think about what that R is. Okay? In English, we use one of two different types of R's. I'm using, what's common in American English and some parts of Britain. It's called the Rohtak R. That's R, emphasizing the R sound in it. And there are other parts of the English-speaking world that don't pronounce it, especially towards the end of their words. If you're from Australia, New Zealand, most of Britain, you're gonna pronounce your R's like ah. You're gonna have a very open sound. What that means is that when you come to a word in Indonesian that ends in an R, your natural tendency is not to pronounce it. So you're going to leave that ah sound at the end, and it might create some small chance of being misunderstood, but most likely it's just going to result in you sounding a little less native. So if you want to make your accent sound better, you want to pronounce the R at the end, and even better, you want to use the right R. In English, we use one of two different types of R's, but that's not the type of R that they use in Indonesian. The one that they use is a little more like the Spanish R or the Italian R. So what we need to do is we need to learn how to make that R. Okay? Now, for you to do it as an English speaker, you're going to have to throw out the idea that you're speaking an R. And you have to start to think of it as a D. I know it sounds a little strange, but it will make sense as we go through this exercise. So we're going to actually produce the flapped R, which is the basis of the rolled R. So we're going to work with that. The way we're going to do it is we're going to use the word practice. Okay? But as I said, we're going to replace that R, we're going to take it out, and we're going to put the letter D in its place. So practice is going to become practice. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to compress that sound, okay, so that we're producing a PD sound at the beginning of the word practice becomes practice, practice, okay, practice, 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 okay. So if you think about what just happened, when you make an R sound, especially in English R, your mouth is open, R. Okay? There's nothing in the way of that air as it comes out of your mouth. When you make what's called a flapped R, your tongue isn't in the way. So what you want to do is you want to make R, R, okay? R. Your tongue contacts the roof of your mouth and blocks the air a little bit and then flaps out. That's how you get that D, R sound. That's why it's a lot like a D. So, D, R, R, okay? So that tongue is involved in blocking the air. So forget about it as an R because that's an open sound, as we know in R. Think about it as a D, which is a closed sound, which is what you need to make that flapped R. So you're going to make practice, 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 practice. Okay? Now, practice that a little bit. Get it so you're really flapping that R, so that D sound becomes very light, becomes very R-like, very flapped R-like. Then, once you're comfortable with that, add R at the end of it. So you're going to say practice R, which of course is going to come out as practice R, okay? Because your mouth position was correct just a split second before that. It's a little bit easier for you to reproduce that sound right next to it. So you're going to practice R, okay? And that's the basis of the sound you're going to make when you start rolling your R. So you're going to say practice R, okay? Practice R. So we can get into kind of apa kabar, practice R, apa kabar, because the practice is going to get your mouth into that position, okay? Of apa kabar. See? That's all you need to do. Forget about it being an R. Think of it as a D, as a very light D. Try putting a P in front of it to control the amount of air you're making at that moment, to get that flap just the right weight, and that should get you rolling your R's.